Welcome back to another Boom and Bust editorial. I'm your host Terry, and today I gotta give Madden some credit, man. I know Madden 20 came out. I talked about Madden a few times. There's a long history of trash in Madden, and while it's moving in the right direction, there's still a lot to complain about. I complained about franchise mode and all that, but I gotta give them some credit. If you don't know, because I won't assume everybody knows, there's a feature on Madden franchise where you can play as an individual player. So the face of the franchise, they renamed it to QB1. That's the big push this year, where you can only be a quarterback coming out of college. And I get a lot of people want to be other positions, just like NCAA used to be. However, even before they had this mode, there's franchise as a player. You can pick any player in the NFL, I believe, or you can create a player and you will player lock to that player. So anybody that's an NCAA fan, you know about Road to Glory, you know about just playing as your guy. And I was wondering, because I haven't played it in a while, I'm like, did it fall off? Is it not as good? Because I really liked it back in the day on Madden, not just NCAA. And so I was like, maybe it fell off. Man, I played it. Look, you player lock as the player. You can change the camera angle to player lock. So if you're a safety, you looking from a safety angle, or any defensive player. If you're a receiver, you isolate it to that receiver. You just doing your routes. Like the one difference is you do pick the plays. In NCAA, you could pick your own, or the coach would give you like 3 options. And the more you got respect, then the more you could pick the play. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. And so I was really excited, especially with the superstar traits and all these different, the motion of the players, all that. And so I wanted to check it out. I love it. I absolutely love it. I have one with Saquon Barkley. Now, the thing with that is, on offense, as a non-quarterback, it's really annoying having to pick your plays, because you feel kind of out of the moment. Like, I'm Saquon Barkley, but I pick the plays. So if I want, I could run a run play every single play. I don't do that. The thing I do, personally, I go to coach suggestions. And so that way I kind of limit which plays I can pick. And that way I just kind of try to perform, because in NCAA, once they gave you a few plays, it's kind of like real life. You just got to perform the play they give you. And sometimes, when you got the full array of plays to pick, it feels unrealistic. And sometimes you have to think more, because, look, Madden is pretty comprehensive. It's not great, but it's comprehensive. And so when you're a coach and you have to pick the plays, then you got to audible, then you got to do hot routes. On defense, you got to do different player assignments. You got to man somebody up. You got to shift the D-line. It's pretty comprehensive, and there's a lot to think about. But when you do a player mode, you just want to be focused on your task. Like in real life, Antonio Brown doesn't come to the line, change it to a run or a pass. He doesn't hot route the receivers. He doesn't do any of that. Like, he lines up, he knows his assignment, and he executes his assignment as an elite star. And so that's kind of what you want as a player. And that's a little taken away because you got to pick the plays. But other than that, I go to coach suggestions, and I limit myself to whatever the coach suggests. And then that's the way I go about it. So then from there, though, it's pretty nice. And then offense is a little different, running back especially, because you're next to the quarterback. So I have to change the camera when I'm in pass plays so that it locks just on me. Other times, if it's a run play, I'll put it real zoomed up so I don't see the whole field. Because like in real life, a running back can't see the whole entire field. You can only see what's in your peripheral. So I just try to make it as realistic as possible, but you can do whatever you want. Now, I have another franchise with Big Cat Jamal Adams on the Jets. Bro, it is so good. When you, I would suggest, if you are listening to this and you get excited, play as a safety. A safety is so hard to play. But look, I think we've grown as gamers. Back then, it was like, let's spam it, let's cheat it, let's do whatever we can. But as we went on with time, we realized the challenge is big because the payoff is so much better. Safety is the same way. Linebacker's tough too, between run pass with the RPOs, with blitzing and pass rush, all that. But safety, you get all of that, plus you got to play deep coverage, excuse me. And so, like, being a safety is literally like being a linebacker plus. You got to be able to play the pass concepts. You got to be able to have good pass rush moves. You got to be able to cover, to go man coverage, zone coverage, all this stuff. I love it. And Big Cat obviously is a superstar. So you got the hit stick. If you got a guy that got the enforcer hit stick, it's fun. For me, I turn the fumbles down on the sliders, so I don't make everybody fumble. But when you fumble, it's nice. But anyway, the point is the superstar abilities work because I'm the Jets. We have Tom Brady in our division. I played Tom Brady twice already. It's a different ball game. We play all these other quarterbacks, and you know it's a competitive thing. But when you play Tom Brady, it is so much more close to real life than Madden has ever been, because there's different routes and concepts where I'm like, I know what they're running. I can bait a quarterback and get a pick. Other times, you know, when I play Tom Brady, it's like he throws the ball so fast and he sees it so quickly that I can only get a tackle to make sure he doesn't break loose. And, you know, you not doing your actual assignment will mess you up against top quarterbacks. So, like, it's immersive. I'll say that. People want franchise mode to be immersive, and I don't think it's there yet. I already talked about that. You can check that video out. But for me, the player mode is immersive because I'm Jamal Adams. I'm looking at each week, which quarterback are we playing? Okay, based on the quarterback we're playing, I know which type of plays I want to call. I know how I want to attack. If I can, you know, run up to the line, Troy Polamalu style, and drop back into coverage. I know if we got a fast receiver, I got to back up and stay back. I know all these type of things. And so that makes it very immersive where it's like I'm in this player's head. And then when you player lock, you're on the island. You can't cover for your corner. You can't blitz for the D-line. You have to do your own thing as your player and make stats. And honestly, I'll tell you, at Saquon, the first 3 weeks, I was like, F this season, I'm going to get my stats because you can't control people. And so you watch Eli Manning just throw terrible interceptions. He threw like 3 interceptions our first game. And I'm just like, our defense is trash and there's nothing I can do. Like, I actually don't know if you can demand a trade. I wish it was more stuff like that on there, but either way, I would demand a trade if I could, because you wonder like why these players get selfish. It's because they aren't going to win. And so I'm on a team that's terrible. I'm a good character guy, and I want to do my best, and I'm leading the league in most of the rushing categories, but we're losing games. I can't call a lot of pass plays because I don't trust Eli to throw the ball. And so that makes it immersive where I'm like, F this season, we're going to lose anyway. I might as well get my yards. And then you catch yourself like, oh my God, I'm acting like one of these players. And so same thing, you know, with Big Cat and everything, it's just like you sit on the sideline. I like to simulate on a normal pace so I can see what the offense is doing or the defense is doing. And you get discouraged or encouraged based on how they perform. And it's just immersive, man. I really like it. I think the payoff for everything is big. Like, as a strong safety, Jamal Adams, I didn't put my interceptions at a high level. I'm more so worried about helping the run and all that. And then so when I get an interception, when I see a play and I play it correctly and I, you know, able to pick off a player is big. But when I'm able to pick off Tom Brady is huge. If I'm able to sack Tom Brady, which I did, it's huge. And then the superstar abilities play a factor. You got to look at what your abilities are, which ones you want to equip, kind of like Modern Warfare 2, or Call of Duty, I should say. I'm old school. I play Warfare 2, but Call of Duty is kind of like that. You want to, maybe week by week, you change up your different abilities. Maybe you just like, okay, this one is more beneficial, and that's what you use. And so that stuff is very intriguing to me, but it's just so rewarding. Whenever you do anything, I feel like it's very rewarding. And so I haven't been a linebacker or a corner or a D lineman, but I want to, because I just have so much fun with these individual player franchise modes, and it's pretty immersive where you can easily, a lot of times I think as fans it's just like, we want to win the Super Bowl, why aren't you on board? But then when you play as individual players and you see how everybody else performs around you and how the team performs and the decisions the coach makes, you're just like, this is stupid, and you get like kind of in their position. But then you got to realize what type of player you are and be more humble. So it's an interesting thing. I absolutely love it. I would recommend it. If you're a fan of Road to Glory, one of my favorite things is Road to Glory was a corner, and I'm probably going to play a corner at some point. But I absolutely loved it because, again, you lock into your own little island, and you only can control what you can control. So if you're a running back with a bad O-line, that's what it is. If you're a quarterback with no good receivers, that's what it is. If you are a receiver getting double covered every time, that's what it is. And Madden has a lot. I haven't bought Madden in 2 years. So Madden has a lot more than I expected. So you're talking about, as a safety, I got the enforcer trait. I can hit stick anybody successfully. However, they don't just come to you. You have to be in range to hit that hit stick. And Madden has a fumble problem, but again, you have to be in range. When I play Jamal Adams, the computer knocks me out. When I'm Jamal Adams as a user, it's hard to get fumbles because I got to line them up right. And so there's that. There's conservative tackles. There's aggressive tackles. Of course, there's hit sticks. As a defensive back, they changed the deflection button. You got to know when you can pick it, when you can be a deflection. Because you 100% cannot pick off passes like you used to. And so you got to be a lot closer to pick off a pass, or you got to know to use a deflection. And again, like the whole tackle system, the pass rush, everything is counterbalanced. And so I think if you just play Madden regularly, especially on the low level, it's like, oh, this Madden's trash. But if you play as an individual player, you will realize how much crap you have to do as an individual player. Even as a franchise mode as a coach, like realizing that you got to be able to rush contain with scrambling quarterbacks, realizing with Tyreek Hill, they're going to bomb it on you no matter what team he's on, and all these different things. So there's a lot of crap that you got to do. Last thing I'll say is that one of the best parts, if you want like a fun experiment, because you create a player and you're like, okay, there's no draft process like franchise or like QB1, but you can start at a fantasy draft. So if you start at a fantasy draft and you're playing as a creative player or a current player, you don't make the draft. And so I did that the first time with Big Cat as Jamal Adams just to see what would happen. And I was on the Browns, and then you go straight to the roster and you like, who's on my team? And like, just like quarterback battles, it's like the locker room is divided, because sometimes you get on a team that you don't choose, or a lot of times you get on a team you don't choose, and you're like, who's good? Who's got the stats? And so I would just say, try out the individual player mode for Madden, and you won't be disappointed. It is very immersive. So there we go. Anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know if you playing Madden. Let me know if you tried it. If you have, what type of player you using. If you haven't tried it, then go ahead and try it. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.